We're good. And this is dripping on us. Poor camera. Is that okay that there's water dripping on your camera?
I've taken out the pouring rain before, so it's okay.
Okay, good.
So for me, being the KCIC, either the gardens or the greenhouse, it's a really relaxing place because a lot of the time I use nature or plants or trees or just anything outdoorsy to kind of get back into it. As mentioned earlier, I'm Rachel. I'm currently studying community development and environmental and sustainability studies, which we call ESST, because that's way too much of a mouthful. I love photography. I absolutely just adore it. It's one of my favorite hobbies to do. And my current goal is to one day be a photographer professionally.
So tell us about how you live with mental illness and what that means for you.
For me, it comes in a lot of different forms. The most prominent one, just because it's my life and my experience, is probably I deal with depression and anxiety. So for me, that means basically constantly on edge, and it's hard to kind of relax and get to a settle down state. I'm almost always worried about something in some sort or another, and my mood tends to be really low. It comes to things like low self-confidence. So that's how I deal with it on a personal level. I also have a number of family members, including my brother, who deal with depression and anxiety. So for me, it's something I've always grown up around and is unfortunately a very familiar topic. On a typical day, because again, it really changes. Some days it's going to be really hard to the point that I really don't want to get out of bed, and I basically have to force myself to it. Other days it's more like background noise. It's kind of waking up and fighting the urge to stay in bed all day. Everything just feels like it takes so much energy, and everything feels like it's an exaggerated action where I just have to get through this one more thing.
What are some things or some tools that you use to help kind of calm yourself down?
A lot of that's going to depend on the situation. If I felt anxious for a while and I need to bring myself back down, it's either going to be something like going for a walk or a bike ride, something really active to kind of use up the extra tense energy. Otherwise, it's going to be doing things like taking out my camera and going to find things to take pictures of, or finding a hobby that I just love and really spending time getting back into it. For me, nature, it's really a place where I can get away for a little while from whatever's worrying me, whatever's stressing me out, and kind of get a nice distraction that's not necessarily negative. It's going to be something that'll help me because it's active, it's fresh air, and it's also sort of a reminder that there's so much more to life than what's going on in that individual moment. The struggles I have with mental illnesses, and just that I think a lot of people have with mental health in general, it impacts every aspect of my life. When I'm having downtime, part of me always feels guilty and stressed out about always having to do something else, and always feeling like there's something I should be doing that would be better use of my time. It affects life at home just because my family is always so worried about each other. When it comes to school, it definitely gets extremely stressful, especially for me with my anxiety, because it's a matter of I'm going to a class with a lot of people in it, where it can be absolutely traumatizing for me sometimes, just to raise my hand in class and say something, or to hand in an assignment that I don't think is the best. And a lot of the time, it's hard for me to actually get the motivation or find the energy to get through simple things like reading a few pages of a chapter, or writing a 500-word essay, which should take me half an hour. Some becomes 3 or 4 hours because I just can't get my mind in a state where it's able to focus. In terms of friends, it's actually kind of a two-way street with this one. I find that it kind of finds a way for me to connect with all my friends. So when they're struggling, because I'm open about it, they know that they can talk to me and I know that I can talk to them. So it kind of creates a safe place where we all know that everyone's feelings are valid and what they feel is real. At the same time, there's also been a lot of stigma even with my friends around it. It can make it hard sometimes to open up if I know the person doesn't have as much experience or exposure to mental health issues, because it means that because they don't necessarily know better, anxiety is just stress, and oh yeah, I'm stressed out too, or depression is just, I'm having a rough day too, I totally get it, when reality is, it's completely different. I find that stigma impacts in a lot of different ways. The first one is that when there's a lot of stigma around issues, particularly mental health related ones, it tends to make it harder to talk about what's going on. Even people I sometimes trust and I know that they're trying to understand, they may still have some of the stigma around mental illness and mental health issues in their mind, where they may pick up on a stereotype or something that they think is true, and they sort of try to apply it to me, to who I am. Just a general thing for stigma that people kind of need to stop and realize is that for things like suicide or self-harm, they are really severe issues that it's not just a little fleeting thought necessarily, where it can turn to something more serious. I think that sharing our stories really opens up a feeling that it's okay to talk about what's going on. It's not something that needs to be internalized and bottled up, and that there are whole communities of people out there who are happy and willing to support you, whether you're dealing with a mental illness or you're just dealing with a mental health struggle at that moment. If you had a broken leg or broken arm or any other sort of physical thing, you wouldn't try to hide the cast and make it look like it's part of your leg. You just acknowledge that it's there, and if people ask about it, or if it's something you want to talk about, then it's kind of open and there for you to talk about. Another thing I just want to say that I know a lot of the things I talk about are sometimes negative in the video, and because it is a hard thing to go through and it's a hard thing to face, but at the same time, for every person out there, there is hope, whether it's through connecting to other people, finding new activities you may not have been aware of before, finding forms of assistance that help you. There's something out there that will be the thing that kind of helps you get through the day, and I hope everyone's able to find that.
So that kind of concludes our second Breaking the Silence bi-weekly video. Now you know a little bit more about our team here and who we are. We would like to hear from you. You can email us at bsescampaign@gmail.com. We want to share your story and how you live with mental illness in whatever way that may be. So thanks again for listening.